Oh, windy. Windy, and I am rubbish at this, so if you're getting a load of wind noise, I apologise. Hi, me again. And I thought I'd go out and about again today for my quick video. I am in Jaywick, which was once the most deprived area in the UK. But I don't know if it is anymore, you know. But yeah, you can see evidence of that behind me, I'm sure. But, it's all right down here, really. All these little roads are named after cars. So you've got like Riley Avenue and Bentley and whatever. It's quite funny. So I thought I'd talk today because the big news is the TV licence fee. I'm walking on the sea wall here. TV licence fee going up. And I reckon it's going to be 170, was it 172 quid it's going to go up to? But yeah, I'm not surprised by this because the freeze was only for a couple of years, wasn't it? It was never permanently being locked at 159. And if it hadn't been frozen, if it had gone up with inflation for the last couple of years, what would it be at? It'd probably be over 200 quid, wouldn't it? I'm sure someone will do the maths for me down in the comments, hopefully. But it, you know, this was always on the cards. But the BBC and the news a lot at the minute, it's it can't be good for them, can it? They can't. It's not. They can't catch a break, can they? They can't catch a break at the minute. There's just bad news for the BBC everywhere we go. You just can't win. The BBC's just knackered. And yeah, 172 quid. So that's worth talking about, really, because 159 quid's a lot of money to a lot of people. So it was 172 quid. It's a lot, isn't it? Would that put you off pay if you was paying it? And it's 159 quid and you're struggling to find that, it going up to 170 odd, would that put you off? Because if it goes up in line with inflation again the year after for 2025 and inflation stays at 10%, there you are, you're getting a lot closer to £200 a year. And that is a lot of money to pay the BBC to be able to watch ITV and Channel 4. So I think this could, they're going through a bad phase of it. So many people cancelled because of the whole Lineker thing. A lot of people cancelled because of that. And hopefully they're going to continue cancelling. You know, they'll keep their cancellation now Lineker's reinstated, which we all knew was going to happen anyway. How many more people are going to cancel if it does go? I mean, it's not written in stone that it's going to go up, that's the thing. It's not like completely guaranteed that it's going to go up, but so I'm just trying to keep my number plate out of the video because I'm parked down there on the road. It's not guaranteed it's going to go up. It is frozen for 2 years, has been frozen for 2 years, and the freeze is due to end, but it could be refrozen. What with public opinion as it is at the minute, I wouldn't be surprised to find that it gets frozen again for another year while the BBC build up a bit of positive PR or something. But God knows what else will happen. This is a skinny bit of wall, this, I don't like this. God knows what will happen to the BBC in the next year. You just don't know, do you? It's yeah, I don't know, it's interesting. And I reckon it will put people off, you know. I reckon it will put people off. So you see that we're on the main drag of Jaywick. These are all named after cars, so we're Hillman Avenue. I don't mind Jaywick, really. Family comes from around here. My mum lived in Jaywick for a long time. Don't mind it. And yeah, other big news then, because there was other stuff happen, was I was getting loads of comments and a couple of emails yesterday saying I was mentioned on the radio. So I've got the clip for you. Here you go, here's the clip.
This is Delroy down in London. Delroy, how are you doing?
I'm all right, my friend. How are you?
Good as gold at this end. Yeah, what are you thinking?
Okay, I think just a bit of a public service, a PSA, public service announcement, in as much as the British public need to be aware that there is no legal requirement to own or to have a current TV licence if you do not watch any live broadcast on any channel. That includes the BBC, ITV, everything. If you don't do that, and if you unplug your aerial and it says no signal, even if you get a visit and are dumb enough to let them in, which you have no legal requirement to do so, you don't need one. You don't need to spend that 1.5 nights. So by way of protest, if people are really that peed off with what Lineker is, etc., and the news by it, you don't have
to.
The fallacy.
Delroy, what's the? We had we had a text right at the beginning of the show, which I've only just got around to reading, from Ash, who said that he went if he went to a shop and bought a Freeview TV, then already on that Freeview TV is a BBC app. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he can't remove that from the TV.
No,
so but the minute he plugs it in.
Yes. Exactly. If iPlayer, this applies to iPlayer as well. So if you must not
absolutely.
So
but you can't swerve that if you buy the Freeview TV, right?
No, you can swerve it, because all you need to do, rather, because some of those TVs, as you quite rightly say, they have these like apps and they're like hardware burnt into the chip.
Correct. Yeah, I wanted to get rid of YouTube. I couldn't get rid of it.
As long as you do not watch that and have any verifiable proof, because the only way that the law can get you is if they knock on the door and you let them in, and first, number one, you don't have to by law let them in unless they have a search warrant, and they have to have reasonable suspicion that you are watching live broadcast. That's very difficult to ascertain unless they have photographic evidence, and you let them in and have access to your front room to look at what you're looking at. So it's very subjective. Now, that is what they need to prove a hell of a lot before they can get you in front of a judge and just say...
So they would have to... Because I always thought if you have a device that's plugged in, then that is enough to get you in trouble. But you're saying you have to actually be watching the BBC, and they've got to prove you were watching the BBC.
They really do. They really do. And if you go onto YouTube and look up a channel called ChilliJonCarne, he's got the whole chapter verse.
Sounds like a must-watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's just so people know that they don't actually, and they genuinely have to don't watch it. I mean, if they start watching it and they get caught, then it's a stupid thing to do.
Or if they looked back through the history of your iPlayer viewing.
Yes, and they can do that, because under the law, if you look at the terms and conditions on the live TV licensing, you have to assist them if they get this search warrant and come in. You do have to assist them, and this is under the law, with if they want you to go through your iPlayer records.
That's interesting. Yeah, didn't know that.
But if you get that far, you're an idiot, because you shouldn't have been doing it, and you should have just.
Indeed, yes. Don't entertain the idea in the first place. Delroy, thank you very much indeed for that. Good info from Delroy. Always double check if you're unsure, and call a lawyer or a barrister if you're really bothered.
So yeah, nice to be mentioned. And there was a little laugh again when you mentioned ChilliJonCarne, and this happened when I was mentioned on another radio, because I don't know if you knew it, but the Defund the BBC campaign was started by some lad from watching my first video. If you scroll back to my first video like 6 years ago, that was what spurred him to start defund, apparently. I don't know. But I don't know what happened to him, and now it's just defund the BBC, but give us all your money to do it, but we're going to do nothing with it campaign, isn't it? But I was mentioned, I don't know what was that on, that was Talk Radio or something. It was mentioned on them. And that got a little laugh as well when my name was mentioned. So that was why that I've recently tried the rebranding thing and saying I'm not going to put like my main Telly license videos on this channel. I'm going to use the TV license stop channel, because that ties in with the website, and it's better branding. Better branding, isn't it? And people, won't get that little chuckle when I'm mentioned again. It was interesting also to see how uninformed the presenter was about the whole TV license thing. What with the TV license being in the debate so much, and him having, a 3-hour show on Talk Radio, you'd think he'd have informed himself a little better, wouldn't you? So it's dead simple. Don't watch or record anything that's being broadcast. Don't fancy going down there. Don't watch or record anything that's being broadcast. Don't use BBC. Bad camera. Come here. Got a new camera. Another Osmo Pocket. But the other one I'd had for a couple of years. I bought it with a plan of using it for something and never did. It just sat in a drawer and the battery's knackered on it. So I just bought another one off eBay. So let me know if you notice any quality, because I'm shooting at slightly different quality. It don't like tracking me face in Jaywick, does it? So yeah, anyway, don't watch recording, it's been broadcast, don't use BBC iPlayer. And why was all the discussion about bailiffs? It got mentioned a lot. Not bailiffs, warrants, sorry. Warrants. Why was all the discussion about warrants? They're so rare. It's so rare. It doesn't need mentioning to scare people. And the presenter sort of doubled down on the whole warrants thing, didn't he? Because it's scaremongering, it makes good telly, right? But it's very rare. I think I got my information from TV license resistance .info/forum. The TV Licence Resistance Forum anyway. They're good over there, they know a lot of their stuff. And that's where I got the information from about the warrants I asked, and they delivered. Because they know a lot of stuff over there. So it's about 100 a year. That was before the lockdown. Just can't get any information at the minute about that. 100 a year. It's not many, is it? It's not many. And there's prosecutions. I reckon there's 1,000 prosecutions a week. Was it? Yeah, but they all come from talking to the people on your doorstep. So, you know, the guy watched my videos, and I really appreciate if you're watching this one for mentioning me. It was brilliant. But that presenter led you a bit, didn't he? But they've never reached out for contact with me for contact. I'm not saying I'm a leading light in this, but you know, if they're reaching out to defund the BBC, which has done nothing for comment all the time, and they reach out to Dennis Reed of Silver Voices, who doesn't have a lot of skin in the TV licence fight. When the TV licence is in the media, I would have expected to be reached out to. Only one publication has ever reached out to me. It was a small local paper in Tut North, and it was about a certain other YouTuber who's in prison now. I won't mention the name. So that was partly why I wanted to rebrand to TV Licence Stop, because then it might happen a bit more and we can get the message out there a bit more. We get the message out there a bit more viewers on the channel, more people knowing not to talk to the goons, more people knowing that the only possible way you can get in trouble with TV licensing is by talking to them. And I never condone watching anything you shouldn't be watching, but well, you know I don't. But it still stands that do not talk to them, whether you're doing it like me, right, or you're doing it wrong. Never, ever, ever talk to them. Oh, I'm back where I started. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm going around my mum's now because I can't see her tomorrow on Mother's Day because she's out with all her old biddy friends. It's nice, isn't it? Hey, thanks, Mum. Don't want to get my new trainers dirty by going on the beach down here, but we'll have a look. Everyone's looking at me like... The problem is when most people in Jaywick see someone walking about with a camera, is someone making more poverty porn, because there was loads of them benefits programs and that down there, wasn't there? And there was loads of people coming around talking about that. And I don't want to be marked by that because I'm one of you. I was born in the hospital just over there. I'm one of you. I'd live in Jaywick. Anyway, I've got some comments. I thought we'd go through some comments. Like I said, anyway, well, going off a lot of tangents, so I must be distracted. Going over my mum's, I'm going to try and persuade her to have a bit of a chat about the Telly licence anyway, and hopefully we'll get a video out of it. Right, comments. I love the way the letter says an officer will visit you. The definition of an officer is a person holding a position of authority, especially one with a commission in the armed services, mercantile marine, or on a passenger ship, is also a serving officer in the army. They tried to sound official by saying officer. It's pathetic and threatening and wrong. Yeah, couldn't agree more. That's literally the only reason they call them visiting officers or TV licence officers, is to sound official. It's the only reason. It's the only reason, because they just want to scare you into paying for something. You know, and it works. Sadly, it does work. People think they've got some kind of powers, like the police or bailiffs or something, and then they say, oh, we're going to interview you under caution to make it sound even more, or make them sound even more authoritative, when they're nothing. They are door-to-door salesmen. That's all they are. They don't have any powers at all, and it says so on the TV licensing website. And I think it's wrong that they're allowed to call themselves officers. I really do. Hey, Chilli, we will be going off to live in our camper van. We will have no fixed abode. Do the goons ever knock on van doors? That's our main question. Van life. Quite appealing, the whole van life thing. In my old place, I had a nice double garage. And yeah, I always wanted to buy like a van and convert it myself. Quite fancy a bit of that. But yeah, it says on the TV licensing website, I looked for you, look. Do I need a license for my mobile home or caravan? You will need to buy a license for your static home, caravan or movable chalet if anyone at the same time is watching live, blah, blah, blah. So yes, it says that you do. The rules apply if your caravan, mobile home, chalet is capable of being moved, blah, 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 you have a TV license at your home address. So if it's not your home address and you can move it about, it looks like a no. If it's your main residence and you don't have another address, then it looks like yes. But I can't say I've ever heard of anyone knocking on the door of a camper van saying, oh, you got a Telly licence in there. Now, you know what I'm like, I never condone watching stuff you shouldn't be watching, if you don't pay the licence fee. You know I'm never going to do that. But I think you've got pretty much zero chance of having your door knocked on if you're living in a camper van. But it still doesn't mean you should watch stuff without paying. But what you do in your camper van is your business. I just wouldn't condone it. All right, next. My first goon experience was not easy. He was a very big bloke and I just smiled and said no thanks. Then he asked, can I just have your name? I said no thanks. He knew at the time and smiled and went away. I've only had one more experience since then, and it was so easy after the first. Did not use a camera, but I think I would if they ever come again. I remember my early videos used to get shot down by the people who had been doing this for donkey's years by saying don't film them. Don't film them. Now, film them. For your own protection, film them, because I've heard a lot of horror stories now about people who are a bit uneducated and they get to sign this bit of paper and then they go away and fill it out after the fact. So if you've filmed it, you got some evidence to the fact, haven't you? So, because I'm filming everything now. I had someone, right, walk into my car the other day and then he phoned the police to say I'd run him over. Dash cam soon set that one right. So that was good. But yeah, I've had 2 visits. When I first started doing this, like the first year I did it, I had a visit and I didn't handle it very well because I didn't know, I wasn't educated enough. Did talk to him a bit, but he was quite pleasant and I was quite lucky, I accept. And then when I had to renew the no license needed exemption, I got another visit for that. And I handled that one a bit better. I haven't had a visit since, which is pretty good. Don't talk to them at all. If you get a visit, don't talk to them. Just a simple, be polite. There's no need to be horrible about it. They're still people at the end of the day. They're just horrible people, aren't they? But be polite. Just no thank you, mate. Close the door. And you want to film it for your own protection. But don't sign anything. They might say, all right, I'll go. We just need to sign this to say I visited. Oh, don't do that. Just nothing at all. No contact, nothing. Just let them go. Yeah, speaking of this whole situation, I mentioned before, didn't I, that I learned about all this from YouTube. I didn't know. I thought you had to pay for it. I didn't know anything about it. And I stumbled across a video on YouTube by, I think it was the Watch and Observer 76. And I mentioned the other day that he was the one who taught me everything I know. And he's reinstated his TV license channel. And I linked to a video of his the other day. And it turns out he don't live too far from me. So we're going to go and have a beer. I'm going to do my first ever live stream at some point soon. And then he's going to be on it. He's going to teach me how to do live streaming because he used to do a lot of it. And then it turns out he's about an hour and a half from me, something like that. So I'm going to go down there, we're going to have a few beers and make a video together because he knows a lot more about all of this than I'll ever know. So it'll be educational for everyone involved, won't it? So I'm quite looking forward to that. His name's Rob. Have a look. I'll put a link to his channel. It's the Watch and Observer 76. Go and have a look. Right, any more questions? Open the door, John, and say hi, it's me again. Yes, from the video I did the other day about a letter. I was saying about getting a visit. I wonder, right, because I'm not famous or anything like that. I don't want to be. But the goons do know me. I know this for a fact because every time I put a goon video up, I get 1,000 takedown notices. But they don't realise that they're either being filmed on public property or they're being filmed on private property, and I have the permission of the owner of that property to use the footage. So it can't be taken down. But they still try. And they got me in a bit of trouble with YouTube ones, where YouTube are right now, they're quite cool with it. Yeah, if I open the door, would they recognise me? It'll be interesting to know. I hope I don't have to find out, but I might do one day, you don't know. I'm getting a lot of letters to this address, but hopefully I'm only going to be in this address another, I don't know, month, hopefully, till I get into the new flat, and then I'm on the top floor, so they ain't getting in anyway, because it's a communal door. I haven't had a TV licence for over 20 years, and since this Gary Lineker lark, 92 of my neighbours have cancelled their TV licences this week. I'm always saying this in the videos, that I might only be in this, like, coming up 8, 9, 10 years, can't remember now. But you look in the comments and there's people that have been doing this for a lot longer than me. So it's nothing to be scared of if you're new to this. 92 people, seems a lot, but if you've said it, I'll believe you. Cracking. The movement's getting bigger, isn't it? Totally unconnected, Mr. Chilli, but are you the love child of Peter Gabriel? Every now and then I think you're going to burst into a chorus of Sledgehammer. Anyway, loving the out and about vids, live in Scotland, it's nice to see Dan south. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I like down south. Who the bloody hell's Peter Gabriel? Hang on. I don't see it. I don't see it myself. Yeah, I don't see it. Is it true that letters now mention evasion can affect your credit rating? Evasion's a tricky term that we don't like using on this channel because we're playing a straight game. We're not paying for a service that we don't require. We're not evading anything. But if you go to court for evading, like you were watching something you shouldn't be watching, and you got caught by talking to the goons, which is really the only way that can happen, then you'll get a fine. That's what will happen. If you don't pay the fine, I guess that can affect your credit rating. I guess an unpaid fine. I mean, I've had a CCJ before. Guess that could be a thing. But you should never have to worry about getting into that situation. It's a nice beach down here, you know. Look at that. You should never have to worry about getting into that situation because we're not going to talk to the goons, we're not going to sign anything, and we're not going to do anything we shouldn't be doing, should we? You got to mention ChilliJonCarne and Talk to the Ian Collins show. Yeah, I've already done that. Any more? No. All right, well, I'm off around my mum's. I don't know what we're having for lunch. I don't think she's cooking today, which is terribly lazy, I think, personally. I think she wants me to take her out for lunch. That's what I think. She's sneaky, you know, so I probably will. But a few of the others are coming down as well. One of my sisters is coming down. A couple of my nieces are there. So if I have to take my mum out for dinner, it could end up being a big bill, couldn't it? Sneaky, these girls, you know, sneaky. But yeah, I'm going to try and talk mum into doing a video, having a little chat, only for a couple of minutes, just so you can see what she's got to say about the TV licence fee. And apparently people say we look alike, so I'll be interested to know your comments. And think of the comments. Don't forget to leave your comments about this down below, about the TV licence fee going up, all the stuff we've talked about today. And if you happen to see any more mentions of me on the radio or in the media or anything, do let me know so I can have a look at it. All right, thanks for watching. Ta-da.